On the Saturday before Tony was to leave Malawi, we arranged for a truck and a driver, Alex, and headed out bright and early for Hippo View Lodge. I think I was expecting something shabby and run down, but Hippo View Lodge was beautiful, with its tall palm trees, manicured lawns, shaded walkways, and of course, a Beware of Hippos sign. Now we might have thought this sign was a prop until we looked down. Hippo tracks, right there beside the walk. We assumed that this sign was no prop either. Tony arranged for a boat and a captain who would also be our guide, and we were quickly on our way up the Shiri River. And typical of all our travels in Malawi, there were people everywhere. There were people fishing all along the shore. Some arrived on foot, but most came in handmade dugout canoes. We saw riverboats of many shapes and sizes, but no motors here. These were driven by oars and the strong backs of Malawi men. We saw people fishing with homemade fishing poles, with gaffs, with nets, and some with just a piece of fishing line and a hook. Some had their nets stretched out on shore to check for needed repairs. We saw families out gathering food right along the shore. I'm sure they knew that crocodiles were also out gathering food right along the shore, and that Malawi crocodiles grow up to 18 feet, just under 3 meters in length. The Shiri River was buzzing with people, most trying to get their hands on some food for themselves and to sell. We came across a group of guys just out for a cruise on a beautiful Saturday afternoon. We saw lots of hippos. In fact, we rarely saw just one because they stay together in family groups.
This is another family for the hippos.
This one I go this place for progress Friday.
Oh, okay.
What do you say?
There are different families.
Yeah.
This family fighting to another family. So this family has just moved away from that family.
Yeah.
Away that no, we should be staying here.
Okay.
This is another family for the hippos.
It's a little hippo war.
Hippos are a strange-looking animal, with their tiny little ears, but kind of beautiful in their own way. And I think they liked the camera, because they gave me lots of great poses. In the distance, we could see the grazing herds of Liwonde National Park and Game Preserve. One thing that surprised us was how close the fishermen got to the hippos. These can be very dangerous animals, and that hippo yawn is all too often the last thing a hapless fisherman sees. Imagine the skill it takes to stand up in a tippy dugout canoe and then fling your net out towards a family of hippos. We might have been getting a little bored with hippos. You know, you've seen one, you've seen them all. And then our captain spotted an elephant at some distance up the river. We couldn't see it at first, but then there it was, a black dot that soon became 2. The elephant leading the way appeared to be the mother or matriarch. And she was soon joined by 3 others who had just enjoyed their lunch of delicious reeds. There's of course no guarantee that you're going to see an elephant at all on one of these excursions, and our captain and guide was pretty happy that he delivered. Not just some elephants off in the distance somewhere on the shoreline, but right there, up close and personal. We were able to get as close as 15 feet, I would say. If we tried to get any closer, she would just back away. So I used my telephoto lens to get in close, and that's why the film is a little bit shaky. Here I'm not using the telephoto lens, and you can see how close we really were to the elephants, and you can also see how fast the Shiri River flows. One thing I noticed during our amazing visit with this family group was that the matriarch never took her eyes off of us. The others didn't care so much, but she had a bead on us the whole time. Eventually, the captain decided that we'd bothered them enough and it was time to let them go on their way. It was amazing how they glided across the river behind us. As we continued up the river, we encountered many beautiful birds, like this very handsome African fish eagle. This elegant white stork. A pied kingfisher. A lonely pelican looking a bit out of place. A great cormorant. And this magnificent purple heron. When the purple heron took off, I began to follow her with my camera. I didn't realize until she landed that she'd led us right to a group of elephants, feasting among the reeds. The heron took off again, and we followed. And guess what? She led us right to a small herd of elephants, grazing in the short grasses. There were elephants of various ages in this group, including a 2-month-old and a 4-month-old. Notice how the babies kind of tuck themselves under their mums as they walk along. We had been out on the river for almost 3/4 of an hour, and the captain told us it was time to cross the river and head back down the other side. We encountered a solitary hippo, a couple of hippos just waking up after their siesta. Remember that first group of elephants we encountered? The ones we interrupted crossing the river? Well, we came across them, now safe and sound on the other side. Finally, we came across one of the rarest sights you're likely to see on the river. A group of men slaughtering a hippopotamus. Can you see them? Tossing the huge chunks of pink meat into the boats? 2 tons of hippo meat was headed by boat to Malawi markets and eventually on Malawi tables. Our time was up and we headed back to Hippo Lodge. Tony, Alex, and me. Oh wait, that's a kitty cat. I don't think there were many kitty catters in Malawi, but this one found me. It was a 2-hour drive back to Blantyre, and we talked the whole way about the wonderful things we'd seen at Hippo Lodge. At last, we found ourselves on the last leg of our journey, bouncing through the busy Blantyre Bus Terminal. I include this footage so you could see what a Blantyre Bus Terminal looks like. And finally, Doogle's Lodge and home sweet home away from home.